Welcome to Skinny Jabbers, the podcast about weight loss injections. I'm Jenna, here with my husband Stuart, and we're going to discuss what skinny jabs are and how they work. So, I'm on a weight loss journey with Majuro. I started off at 123 kilos, and we go into why we measure in kilos and how much we've lost and our journey so far. So over to Stuart, he's going to take you through what the skinny jabs are.
Hello, this is take 463, if you didn't know. We're husband and wife. I decided a little while ago when I saw these weight loss drugs first mentioned in a magazine called New Scientist a couple of years ago, and I thought they're worth keeping a beady on. And so I kept an eye on them, and as it happened, they started to release them in the States, and I thought, good for them. Let's see how those people suffer, and they seem to work. And so when they started to suggest that they were going to be available in the UK, I thought that's great. That's probably something I should try. Jen, did you just mention what you started as a weight?
I started at 123 kilos.
123 kilos.
Yeah.
So I was when we started. So I measured in. It would have been the end of May. So 163.3 kilos is where I started. Started on June the 1st. And since then I've lost just over 40 kilos. So I am now just below where she was when we started. Which I was, from where we are now, sort of Boxing Day for reference, of 2024, I'm well chuffed with the amount of weight loss that we've had in that time. So the drugs have been advertised. They've been around for a while. They were released in the UK, I believe, in February. And it was one of those things that you went, great, good. They're going to be available to people. We shall try that in a few months after other people have tried it and see how they go on. Because I was a wimp.
You need guinea pigs, don't you?
What's that?
You need guinea pigs first.
You've got to let other people try these things.
Yeah.
So anyway, decided to give it a go to be fair, I'd made the decision in April, but it's a bit like, when you're going to phone into work sick and you're going to do it, like the decision's been made. It's definitely happening. There is no chance on God's green earth you're going to work, but you have to play through that whole thing where you go, oh, you know what? I really am ill, definitely. And me phoning in sick for work isn't really a lie. I know there's other things I want to do today, and I will probably do those things, but really it's justified. And you play through that whole rigmarole, getting yourself ready to phone in sick for work. That was May of this year. And so I'd already knew that we were going to, I say we, it was me. I was taking it first.
He was my guinea pig.
Yeah, I was her guinea pig. And so I went to Newman, bought the drug, wildly expensive, since I've found out that there are much, much cheaper places to buy it from. But we started the journey back in June. So, as Jen said, this episode is about what are skinny jabs. So,
do the sciencey bit.
Do the sciencey bit. Look, I don't want to go too much into the science because it's just going to freak people out. But so what we'll try and do is keep it relatively simple. I say that as if I'm not already 10 minutes in recording, although you've probably only seen about 2 minutes of this video. So, Ozempic, Majuro, and all the others that are sort of now available on the market, soon to be available for dogs and cats. Who knew? But that is a thing that's going to come very shortly. She knew. She's a dog trainer. She's into these things. So the initial concept was to work on a hormone called GLP-1. We've recorded this a few times, and I say this a lot, but badly. So this is probably the only time I'm going to say it. So it's a glucagon-like peptide. Smashed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely hammered
well done.
that.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
Never saying it again.
No.
So anyway, GLP-1, that's the drug. it's a hormone naturally produced in the body normally for most people, right? So if you're a normal person, you produce it. So in the same way that you normal people produce insulin. So we produce insulin, all good. If you're born without the ability to produce insulin, then you're a type 1 diabetic. If you end up with severe weight issues,
Yeah.
then your body starts to struggle to not necessarily to produce, but to control your use of insulin. And you become type 2 diabetic. You actually were being told by the doctors, well, basically this time last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah, so last December, went in, had a blood test, and they basically said I was borderline diabetic. So I had to change my ways.
So they basically went proper porky.
Yeah,
you're going to kill yourself.
yeah, kind of. You're above the kind of levels. They obviously had their guidelines above that, so I needed to have a lifestyle change to obviously lose the weight and therefore get my blood sugar levels under control.
Whereas I was 40 kilos over that and was struggling to walk up a flight of stairs. So if she was borderline type 2 diabetic, then if I wasn't on the borderline, I'd taken a good few steps past it.
Yeah.
But either way, we're basically talking about a drug that was designed in a similar way to the way we produce sort of fake insulin. And what the drug does is a number of different things. So it helps with satiety, which is the feeling of fullness. And it does this weirdly in two ways. One, it allows the gut, so the microbiome, so all of the little neurons that are down there. And in the first time we recorded this, I mentioned it, so I'm going to mention it again because I love this fact. Your gut has more neurons in it than a cat has. So your stomach has a bigger brain than a cat, which is just awesome. And when you consider how annoying cats are, it does seem to be completely true. So it allows your gut and your microbiome to tell your brain, "Whoa, dude, full. You you don't need to eat anymore. Like we're done. Awesome. Cut it out. Stop chucking more stuff down it." And what it also does is it slows the gut's let's say processing speed. So what it does is it slows the speed in which the gut moves food through it and processes it. Sort of, turns it into poo, I assume, and takes all the nutrients out. What else is it doing?
Ooh.
Nutrients and poo, that's what it does.
Okay.
So anyway, probably mentioned poo too many times already in a podcast. But we are going to mention it again.
It will come up a
I
little
guarantee
bit.
you
Yeah.
this is going to come up. So it does those things. And those things are great. So if you're watching this, there's probably a good reason. You are probably in the position of either thinking, I'm going to take this, or you're already taking it and going, I could probably do with learning a little bit more about it. Either way, what it's doing is it's slowing down your ability to process food. So you feel fuller for longer because it doesn't just fly through your gut. It's also telling your brain, you are full, mate. Like, just stop. And those two things are really important. And then what it also does, and it's two-part, and it's kind of the original point of the drug. So the GLP-1 was originally designed to help people with diabetes, and it does two things. One, it helps you release insulin and in the amounts that you're supposed to. And it also stops your liver from producing too much glucose, so sugar, between normal human beings, but yeah, glucose. So the glucose being released into the body is energy and other bits and pieces, and the insulin allows you to regulate that. And so those two things work side by side, sort of hand in hand, and it helps you control both of those things. And those two things are really, really important. Sure. What the drug ends up doing is it stops all of the peaks and troughs of when you eat. So again, if you're watching this has probably happened to you. So you haven't eaten anything for a few hours and you feel like you're going to pass out. Like it's just like the world is coming to an end. If I don't eat something right now, yeah, you're just going down. Yeah, we've been there. And after you've taken this for a while, that sensation kind of disappears. Like goes. Not just it feels slightly, it's gone. Because you're regulating your blood sugars and your insulin levels way better. And that was the original point of it. So it was for diabetics. But the society parts, the fact that you want less food, you need less food, you're processing the food in a different way, all of those things, they meant that the people that were taking this drug lost a crap load of weight. And they were measuring it in body percentages, which is difficult to talk about because it depends how big you are. So as we were saying, I started at 163 kilos. Jen started at 123 kilos. I should probably remember this stuff. I mean, I've got a tracker and everything. So if I lose 10% of my body weight and she loses 10% of her body weight, I'm losing a hell of a lot more weight. It really depends on where you start as to how much weight 10% accounts for. Because if you're 80 kilos, you're losing 8 kilos. Okay. I mean, I guess it's still 10% of your body weight, but it's a relatively smaller amount. So depending on who the people were, they were, I think Majoro, when I did the research on the drugs, Majoro was saying that on average from the trials that they were running, it was somewhere in the region of sort of the mid 20%. So, 24, 25% of body weight loss. That's, again, depending on how overweight you are, that's a hell of a lot of weight. If we take me, so what we're saying, 16 kilos would be 10%. So you're saying 32 kilos would be, so yeah, basically 40 kilos, which is pretty much what I've lost.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm done, Jen. That's it.
You're done.
I don't even know
That's
why we're
as
doing this
much as you
podcast
can
anymore.
do.
I'm out, boys.
Yeah.
Bye. It's been nice. Should have worked that out beforehand. That's a shock to me. But yeah, I've lost about 25% of my body weight, and that's, I'll be honest, it's bonkers. We've done diets many times, and most of the time they've been unsuccessful.
What do you mean most? All of them have been unsuccessful. Like, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, right.
Because all of the others have been unsuccessful. Yes. We might have lost.
Oh, except for that one time when we got down to like 4 stone each.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, on all of our other diets, we would have lost kilo, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It would have been, it would have been nothing. Like, yeah. But yeah, this is different. This is life changing. And like we spoke about this morning, this isn't a diet.
No,
this is a lifestyle change. It's
that's kind of the difference.
Yeah.
When you actually step back and you work out what this drug is, which is what this episode is supposed to be about, it's an artificial. So it's the GLP-1 receptor antagonist, which basically means fake version. Okay. I mean, it doesn't. There's more to it than that, but we'll just go with that because it's easy to understand. So the good people at all the different drug companies, but individually, if we're talking about Majoro, so this stuff up here, they wanted to produce a fake version of GLP-1, and they did it, and that was great. And then one of the other trials they did was they worked with a drug called a gastric inhibitory polypeptide, or a GIP. And whereas the other drugs companies went, GLP-1 is the better drug, and it is, it's a more effective drug. And that's great, that's wonderful, let's use that, let's put that on the market, let's sell that quick. Someone down at Lilly went, what happens if we mix them together? Yeah, what? well, let's just stick them both in the same pen and jab it in them. And they did.
The accent.
They're northern again.
What? Are they northern?
What, the people at Lily?
Yeah.
No, I don't even know where the
Because you
company's
always
based.
go northern when you say that.
I do.
Like with them.
I think they're German for some reason.
I'm sure a German want to come out later.
No, if I start doing the German one, we're going to end up in trouble. So they decided to lob both drugs in the same pen, and the GIP works in a slightly different way. But again, it slows down the processing of food and all those good things, and it works in a slightly different way. Which I guess, like when you go to the doctor and he goes, you can take like ibuprofen and paracetamol, and you go, okay, well, which one do you reckon I should take? And he goes, you know what, you can take them both. What I do is I take these, and then 2 hours later take those, and then 2 hours later go back to this one, then 2 hours later blah blah blah, yeah, and just sort of mix between the two. And what they've effectively done is gone, we'll stick them both in the same pen. They work in slightly different ways on slightly different areas of the gut, and they will both complement each other in the result that we're trying to achieve. And so they produce that drug, and it's done some brilliant things. Now, one of the things that we wanted to speak about is, so the drug initially was designed to help diabetics regulate their sugar and their insulin. Great. The positive side effect was effectively huge weight loss. And so it's now being marketed as a weight loss drug, which some people are getting a bit narky about, because they seem to suggest that people that are taking it for weight loss are somehow taking it away from diabetics. Completely untrue. These things are never out of stock. The only time it's ever been out of stock in the sort of 7 months we've been on it is that at one point there was an issue in production of the 15 milligram, the top jobby here. And it, bless its little heart, was out of stock for about 2 months because there was an issue in production, and so they binned a load of them. But other than that, never been out of stock. And weirdly, as everyone starts on this dosage, because it's the bottom one, and you build your way up through the drugs, it's not really going to stop anyone taking it if that one's out of stock, because that's not how that works. This is going to have the most people on it, and then it's going to move through, and this is going to have the fewest people on it. So absolute garbage. Don't listen to it. Rubbish. The positive side effects are like any drug. So the example I always use, because it's the most famous one, is Viagra. Viagra was made as a blood pressure and a heart medication. And then when they started doing the trials, all the guys went, yeah, there's a side effect, lads. Not what I was expecting. And they went, what's that? I went, well, And we all know. I don't need to mention this. We all know what Viagra's doing. And if you had a friend who came to you and went, oh, yeah, doctors prescribed me Viagra, and you go, okay. The first thought is not about blood pressure. Well, it might be. Just
different area.
Yeah, just not in the area that they were thinking about. So that's the point. It was a side effect. It was a positive side effect, as with many, many drugs that are on the market, and it's now being used for weight loss, to be fair, even more so than for diabetics. Although the NHS, bless the little cotton socks, have finally caught on that this might be a useful thing, and are going to, over the course of how long? You've been paying attention to this?
So over the next 3 years, they're going to roll it out to people that are morbidly obese with a weight-related issue, so heart disease or
what was it we're calling it in COVID? A comorbidity. Morbidity.
Yeah. So yeah, they will be the first ones to receive it. And then over the next 12 years, it will be rolled out to other overweight people. That's what currently is suggested. But apparently it won't start until May.
Yeah, why start now?
Yeah.
Get Christmas over with, have a little break, knock the first quarter on the head. We can always ignore that.
Yeah.
Or start in the spring.
Yeah. Because those people that might actually die in that time
Oh, that
because
just
they're
gets them off
overweight.
the list, though, doesn't it?
It couldn't help those in that time.
So what we end up having is a drug that some people see as a quick fix. Some people are seen as I wanted to do a what this drug is and what this drug isn't, and I think that's quite an important thing. Let's do it the other way around. What this drug isn't. So this drug is not, as some people seem to think, and I'm going to use the same example that I did the first time we tried to record this. It's not a fat dissolver, people.
No.
That's not what it does. I have genuinely seen people, bless their little cotton socks, going, right, okay, so you can jab it into various different places. You can jab it into the stomach, into the thigh, into the arm. Why anyone's doing it in their arm, I have no idea. That just seems wildly difficult. The stomach's just weird, but you get used to it. The thigh, really easy. Okay, just jab it in your thigh. But people will go, oh, I've been sticking it in my thigh and my bum's got small or something like that. And I don't want my bum to get small. I want a big fat bum, but I want a little skinny belly. So if I start sticking it in my belly, will my belly get smaller? What? What are you talking about? Well, if I stick in my belly will get small because I've been sticking it in my leg and my bum's got small. No, you're just putting it under your skin. That's kind of like going, when I get a headache, I swallow my paracetamol. You go, yeah, because it's in my head. Right, sure. But I've got a bad leg, so should I stick it on my bum? No, don't do that. Swallow it again. But yeah, bless the little hearts. It is not a fat dissolver. Just put it in you. That's all it's doing. That's what you need to focus on.
Yeah, so it's really not a fat dissolver. It really doesn't matter where you put the injection. If you feel that your bum's going, it doesn't really. It's not the injection site. It's really not.
It's not. So what it is a hormone, and there's no better way to describe this as it's hormone replacement therapy. And what we're saying is that there are people out there, like us, who aren't producing enough of this hormone. And what we're doing is we're just allowing them the ability to control their bodies in the way that they should be able to and are not. And so when we're having negative conversations about this drug, it's the equivalent of having the same negative conversation about insulin, right? And just going, well, why do we let people have insulin? If they're type 1 diabetic, then maybe they're just too lazy to produce insulin. What?
Too lazy.
Too lazy. Now, weirdly, you could have a conversation about type 2 diabetics, kind of bring it on themselves, but that's where the GLP-1 comes in to go, well, maybe there was something else they're not producing that's causing the problem. And as it happens, there bloody is.
Yeah.
And now we know what it is, and now we can give it to people. So to have an argument that people shouldn't be allowed hormone replacement therapy seems like callous at best. I would love to see the argument on the TV, on the news, on GB News with Bev Tan. I would love to see her have a conversation to say, you know what, women going through menopause shouldn't be allowed hormone replacement therapy. Screw them. They're just lazy. They should just eat less and move more, or whatever equivalency is of that. Anyone out there who wants to have an argument with menopausal women about the fact that they shouldn't be allowed hormone replacement therapy, best of luck to you. Best of British, because
you must have a death wish.
Yeah, you are a hell of a lot braver than I am. That is a very stupid conversation to have, and just have that thought process of how that conversation would go, and go, how ridiculous would that conversation be? And if that conversation is ridiculous, and the one about diabetes and insulin is ridiculous, then I don't think it's going to be too many years before people realise that the same conversation about GLP-1 drugs is equally as ridiculous, and that they should be available to everyone who needs it effectively. And I know any sort of American audience we might have will go, oh, that's a commie stance, terrible socialism, allowing people to take it. That's a really bad.
I was going to say another really bad.
I don't do good accents.
No.
I'll do accents, but they're all going to be crap. But
as we will find out.
As we'll find out over the course of these.
You will alienate every population in the world.
I hope so. At some point, if I haven't offended you, please let me know, and I'll make sure that I get to you in the next episode. There's got to be someone out there I haven't pissed off or won't in due course. So what we're trying to do is, with this hormone, is get rid of what I have referred to as Labrador brain. These drugs, as I think I've mentioned, but we've recorded this so many times, it may have been this version, it may not have been. But these drugs will be available at some point for dogs. There's a number of companies out there trialing them. They're even testing them on cats. I don't know how many wildly porky cats there are, but
lots.
Are there?
Lots of porky cats and lots of porky dogs.
Okay, so I mean, there's plenty of porky dogs, but one of the main ones that they've pointed out is Labradors, and it was a main thing that you and I had a conversation about, of how these drugs work, and me trying to sort of explain it to you, of going, Labradors don't feel full, so they will eat and eat and eat until they're sick, and this is a genetic problem. So this is a known genetic issue amongst Labradors. Is it different in the types of Labradors?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Apparently a dog trainer, but doesn't know enough about dog genetics.
Not scientific.
Yeah, dropped you in the deep end there. So anyway, but Labradors will eat and eat until they're sick, and the moment that they've thrown up, they will carry on eating again. So this drug makes sense to try and give them, because they're clearly missing something. As are we. And the thing is, the drug exists now. The one conversation that I've had with someone, and saying that when we've tried to lose weight before this drug existed, it was a hope, it was a dream, it was something that, with any luck, I'll lose X. It's not like that anymore. I'm losing the weight. I know I can continue to lose the weight. Whilst this drug exists and is available, I don't need to be fat anymore. And that is...
It's a one-way journey.
Yeah. Because, even if you went, oh no, like I've stopped taking it and I've started to put weight back on again, you can just take the drug again. Yeah. Like, it will go.
And we're not suggesting that you kind of yo-yo backwards and forwards on this drug, but...
Well, no, this is a bit that you wanted to talk about in sort of a future episode around food.
Yeah.
And sort of talking about food skills. And this, look, for any sort of weight loss thing, when you're losing this amount of weight, it's going to take time, and it does. So we've been on it. I'm going into week 30. You're going into week 28, something like that. So yeah, we're the best part of sort of 7 months in, and we've lost a hell of a lot of weight, and it's still going off, and it's still falling off at a relatively solid, give or take, about 1 kilo a week.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
So if you're going to lose 90 kilos and you're going to lose 1 kilo a week, you're going to take about 90 weeks, for anyone that's really, really poor at math. Jen. Or from that Facebook thing, lots of people, apparently.
Yeah.
Lots of people seem to be very bad at math.
Yeah.
But we'll get to some stupid things that other people have mentioned online in a later episode. I imagine they're going to be comedy gold.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Because some of the questions, just wow.
Yeah, I think once we've got our initial couple of episodes out of the way with why we would take it and who should take it and what it's all about, once we get into the actual in and outs of the journey, as you like.
Can we do a section at the end we'll do like an outtake bit, or
Yeah.
like a little extras part,
Yeah.
where we just come up with the stupidest thing we've seen online that week,
Yeah.
and then we'll just tear into it in the way it deserved.
Maybe,
but we were
yeah.
too polite
Maybe we
to
can
do
work on
online.
that. Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's going to come. I am absolutely going to lose it with some of these.
And even some of them are good questions, but they're asking in a
Terrible,
stupid way.
terrible
Or they already know it's a stupid
Mm.
a stupid question or thing to put out. So yeah.
So
I think they
ultimately,
deserve it.
for episode number 1, the question that we were starting with is, what was it, Gun?
What are skinny jabs and how do they work?
Okay, so I reckon we've covered most of that for the first episode.
I think we've done that.
That'll do us. So skinny jabs, GLP-1 with a GIP addition. If you're taking Majuro, if you're taking one of the others, you don't get that little Brucey bonus. If you're taking Majuro, comes in a box, looks a bit like that. Well, it doesn't look a bit like that. It looks a hell of a lot like that, because that's, I mean, it's literally,
It looks like that.
That's literally the box. So you get one of those, you get a pen. We're going to do an episode on how to take it and how to
and what you
champ
get
yourself
and all
and
that
what you
sort of
get.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
you did a little sort of unboxing thing the other day.
Yep.
So that might be quite useful. We'll add that at some point. And yeah, so that's what they are, and what they do. They help you regulate your insulin and your sugars. They make you feel full. They make you feel full for longer. They slow down the speed in which you process food, all those good things. And as a result, if you're not a moron, and there are plenty of them out there who are trying to weirdly eat through the drug, and sort of sit there and go, well, I don't really want to, but I can still eat a Big Mac and a bucket of KFC. Well, I'm sure you can.
That's the crazy thing I don't get. They know that they shouldn't eat more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But this is...
we talk about this in another one, but it really does do my head in when people are like, I know I shouldn't have eaten this.
But this is the reason why we're
did.
doing this.
Yeah.
So the reason why we're doing this is because there are idiots on TV, plenty of channels. I picked Bev Turner off GB News, but I mean, there's plenty of them, who will say things that are just wildly inaccurate. And so it's made out as if this is some kind of thing where you jab it in yourself and all of a sudden the weight falls off. And that's not what happens, right? So you jab it in yourself and then you feel full and you feel less need to eat. But can you eat? Yeah, of course you can. It hasn't done anything. Your fat doesn't dissolve. It doesn't fall off. I was trying to design a version the other day when we were going down to see my sister. It's going to be a much better version. The idea is that you jab yourself once and it dissolves all the fat in the body and you poo it out in one massive, massive poo. And also what I've added is like a moisturizing skin tightener, so it all sucks in.
A bit like a vacuum pack.
Like your vacuum pack in your body from the inside. You might need to stick a pipe.
I'll let you do that one.
Am I going to be the guinea pig on that one as well? Yeah.
We need some guinea pigs for
anyone
that
who
one.
wants to try it,
Yeah,
let me know once I've mastered it. I'm sure it'll be great. So it's not all those things. And the problem is when people on TV suggest that they are, that means that people go out there, jab themselves, and then expect the weight to just fall off without them having to try to do anything themselves. And that's not what the drug is. It just isn't. So hopefully you've learned a little something. Hopefully we haven't annoyed you with too many terrible accents. I say we, it was definitely Jen.
I don't even go there.
You can't do an accent.
Nope.
Any accent.
Nope. I can barely speak English.
I haven't done a Brummie one.
We'll save that for later.
Okay.
Yeah. We can annoy the Brummies later.
I'm coming for you, Birmingham.
We're not too far down the road, so
we're not. No, we're miles away.
Yeah.
In a different country, not near Birmingham at all. But yeah. So anyway, hopefully that was useful for you. And if we haven't pissed you off too much in one way or another, hopefully you'll come back for a later episode.
We will see you next time on Skinny Jabbers.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.